most successful ones are able to make more copies of themselves. Just like living creatures, the digital entities also undergo mutations. Mutations that are beneficial ensure greater reproduction. Harmful mutations have the opposite effect. 30 is a model for studying evolution. The Avita project has been a great success. Adami's digital organisms have suggested solutions to some of evolution's biggest mysteries. For example, Avita has helped disprove the theory of irreducible complexity. Opponents of evolutionary theory have 35 suggested that some structures, such as the eye, are too complex to have been created in piecemeal stages. The evolution of Avita's digital organisms proves that even extremely complex structures can be developed in stages over time. 40 The Avita program's success has also raised some unintentional philosophical dilemmas. Does Avita just simulate evolution, or are digital organisms a new form of life? According to the director of the Avita project, the processes undergone by the digital creatures are the same as those experienced by biological organisms. The only difference is that biological 45 entities are based on strings of DNA, whereas the digital creations from Avita are based on strings of ones and zeros. In a living creature, different sequences of DNA instruct cells to create certain proteins. In one of the Avita creations, different sequences of computer code instruct the program to 2. Core concept. Reading 33 performs certain functions. In both cases, the reproduction of the organisms 50 is subject to forces such as competition and mutation. Now, some biologists are maintaining that the programs in the Avita project are alive. The programs live, die, reproduce, compete, cooperate, and evolve, activities that many biologists consider the hallmarks of life. 155 prominent biologist says, they don't have a metabolism, at least not yet. But otherwise, they're alive. Of course, not everyone agrees that the program's creations are alive. One difficulty is that biologists do not even agree on the definition of life. The 60 diversity of life on Earth constantly surprises scientists, and there are simply too many characteristics and qualities to provide one simple definition of life. Despite these misgivings, the directors of the Avita program remain optimistic that their program, even if not considered alive, is leading to a greater 65 understanding of life in all its forms. It may even facilitate future searches for life on other planets. According to one member of the Avita team, the problem that we have now is that we are focused on looking for DNA-based life. But there may be other kinds of life out there that we have never dreamed of. The Avita program may provide biologists with another avenue to explore. Write down what you think the main idea is. Here are the first sentences of each paragraph and the last sentence of the conclusion. Paragraph 1 Scientists at Michigan State University are asking a most challenging question. Paragraph 2 The Avita project began in the late 1990s, when Chris Adami, a physicist, sought to create a computer program that could evolve to do simple addition problems and reproduce inside a digital environment. Paragraph 3 Paragraph 4 Initially, the digital creations were unable to process numbers in any way. The Avita program now resides at Michigan State University, where it has been growing and changing for years. Paragraph 5 Paragraph 6 is a model for studying evolution. The Avita project has been a great success. The Avita program's success has raised some unintentional philosophical dilemmas. Paragraph 7 Now, some biologists are maintaining that the programs in the Avita project are alive. Paragraph 8 Paragraph 9 Of course, not everyone agrees that the program's creations are alive. Despite these misgivings, the directors of the Avita program remain optimistic that their program, even if not considered alive, is leading to a greater understanding of life in all its forms. Last sentence The Avita program may provide biologists with another avenue to explore. 34 Cracking the TOEFL IBT We could state our main idea as follows. The features of the Avita computer program have led some biologists to consider the program alive. Because the Avita program is mentioned in sentences from paragraphs 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, we definitely need it in our main idea. The sentences from paragraphs 2 and 4 talk about the program, evolving, changing, and growing. Later, the program is described as alive and likened to a biological organism. So we also need to put this concept into our main idea. Main idea. Paying attention to direction markers when finding the main idea, pay close attention to direction markers. Some passages introduce an idea or a topic, but they go on to discuss the opposite of it. Here's an example. Art has always occupied a special place in society. Many people consider artists to be the ultimate authorities on aesthetics, the nature and expression of beauty. For much of history, the practice of art was inscrutable, and artists were viewed as being somewhat strange and often mad. Even the word 5 most commonly associated with artists, inspiration, has its own magical overtones. Literally, inspiration is the breathing in of a spirit. Artists were thought of as people who were divinely inspired to create. Of course, artists contributed to this mythology. Many artists ascribe their talents to the presence of some supernatural agent or muse. Whole movements of art have centered on the supposedly otherworldly nature of art. For example, the Romantic poets believed that art was the search for the sublime, a term for them that meant an ultimate expression of beauty and truth. The search for this ideal led them to explore both natural and 15 supernatural themes in their works. Another persistent view of art regarded its divorce from rationality. Reason and logic were the province of scientists and philosophers, whereas creativity and intuition were the domain of the artists. The two separate spheres of the 20 mind were supposed to remain distinct. But in 1704, a major transgression occurred. Sir Isaac Newton, mathematician and physicist extraordinaire, published his study of light, optics. One of Newton's major discoveries was on the nature of color. Using 25 a prism, Newton found that white light is actually composed of all the colors of the rainbow. He even provided a scientific explanation for the presence of rainbows. The artistic community was shocked. A scientist had taken a beautiful and magical experience and reduced it to the simple refraction of beams of light through the prism of a raindrop. A scientist had intruded into their sacred territory. 2. Core concept. Reading 35 More than 100 years later, John Keats, one of the most famous Romantic poets, accused Newton of diminishing beauty by unwebbing the rainbow. His colleague, Samuel Taylor Coleridge, famously remarked that the 35 souls of 500 Newtons would be needed to make one Shakespeare. And yet, from another perspective, Newton did not diminish the beauty of the rainbow. He enhanced it. In his quest to uncover the secrets of the rainbow, Newton demonstrated the wonder, creativity, and inspiration of an artist. He also gave the world another opportunity to experience the sublime. Newton's 40 discovery paved the way for the development of the science of spectroscopy, a way of analyzing the chemical makeup of light. Now scientists can look at the stars and discern their composition. The sense of wonder this ability creates is not much different from the wonder the poet or artist feels when gazing at those same stars. Take a look at the topic sentences from the first 3 paragraphs. Note, the first sentence of a paragraph is often known as the topic sentence. Paragraph 1, Paragraph 2, Paragraph 3. Art has always occupied a special place in society. Of course, artists contributed to this mythology. Another persistent view of art regarded its divorce from rationality. At this point, you may predict that the main idea of the passage will be about views of art and artists. But look at the remaining topic sentences. Paragraph 4, Paragraph 5. Last sentence. But in 1704, a major transgression occurred. More than 100 years later, John Keats, one of the most famous Romantic poets, accused Newton of diminishing beauty by unwebbing the rainbow. The sense of wonder this ability creates is not much different from the wonder the poet or artist feels when gazing at those same stars. The sentence from paragraph 4 is an important one because it contains the direction marker, but. The author is introducing an important new idea contrary to the prior topics. We should figure out this new idea. In paragraph 4, the author discusses science's relationship to art. We need to make sure this idea is part of our main idea. Look through the passage again. Do you see any other direction markers that may clue us into the main idea? You may have noticed the following sentence in the last paragraph. And yet, from another perspective, Newton did not diminish the beauty of the rainbow. He enhanced it. 36 Cracking the TOEFL IBTC. If you can come up with a main idea that incorporates these elements. Write down what you think the main idea is. Your answer should look something like the following. Science does not diminish art but instead provides another source of wonder. Thus, it is important to incorporate all parts of the passage. The first part of this passage establishes the view of art, whereas the second discusses the intersection of art and science. 2. Core concept. Reading 37 Drill number 1. State the main idea for each of the following passages. Try to find the main idea. Read the topic sentences of each paragraph and paraphrase them. Then, try to state the main idea. Be on the lookout for direction markers. Passage of plants reproduce by seeding. The seed of the plant